Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of GEEXX Reads. Today I want to talk about Ranger's Apprentice, Book 1, The Ruins of Gorlan, an image of which you will see here, because that's my cute little way of doing this stuff. Anywho, Ranger's Apprentice is actually a bit different from the books I've normally been reviewing here, in that this is I want to say kids book, but not necessarily like small children. If I had to guess, it's designed for kids between the ages of 10 and 14, in that range. But before I dig in too deep on that, let's do a brief overview of the story. Main character of the book is a young lad named Will. Will is an orphan. He is a ward of the state. This book is like medieval period, in case you couldn't guess. Unlike the local baron or duke or whatever, the local lord is a good man, thinks that, orphans should be treated well, so he has set up an orphanage, basically, where orphan children will be raised at his expense, educated, and at the age of 15, they're allowed to apply for an apprenticeship. If they're not accepted as an apprenticeship, they become farmers. That's just how it goes. So unlike the other orphans here, Will doesn't actually know who his family is. He has no family. He was dropped off in a basket as a baby with just a note that said, his mother died in childbirth, his father was a hero, please take care of him. So no one knows who or where Will came from. He's just Will. He has no last name. Most of the other kids who are there, someone at least knows who their family is. He's kind of, upset about this a little bit, I guess. Certainly not happy about it. He also doesn't have any particular skills he feels could be applied. He dreams of joining the battle school to become a knight, which he assumes his father was, because the note says his father died a hero. So he kind of has this little fantasy of his father being, a great swordsman. But again, no one knows, really. But yeah, he doesn't think he has any particular skills. So when choosing day comes, when the orphans that are of age are trying to choose a skill, he hopes to apply to battle school, but he's considered a bit too small. Not strong, not big and burly like most other warriors are. Not particularly studious. He's bright and clever. He's not a weakling, but again, not warrior material. He is chosen as the Ranger's apprentice. The Rangers are the eyes and ears of the local lords. They are also scouts and guides, things of that nature. They're very mysterious. And Walt has no idea why he was chosen initially, but he enjoys his apprenticeship. There is, of course, a conflict or two, which I will not get into. Don't want to spoil the story too much. Even though there's not much to spoil, this book is very thin, very short. It's like 250 pages, and it's big font. It's big typesetting. This won't take you long to get through. So why did I do this? It's standard fare. It's not very complicated. There's no real surprises. It follows the script of a coming of age story in a fantasy setting, although there's not much in the way of magic or fantasy. More like a slightly fantastical medieval setting. So why did I choose to read this book? Both of my daughters actually really like this book. And I did read to my daughters quite a bit, but this is one of those things I never actually got around to reading with them. There were a few attempts to read books that my daughters had chosen, and I didn't care for all of them. Some of them I just couldn't get into. I did read with them, but didn't really particularly enjoy some of the books they chose. But both of my daughters like this series. I figured, you know what? I'll take a stab at it, see how it goes. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy this book. The characters are fairly well written. The story, the pacing of the story is pretty good, although with a short book like this, it's hard to go wrong. But it's also decently written. It's not a piece of crap. Yeah, it follows the tropes, but after you read enough, there's very little under the sun. It kept me entertained and I enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I liked Will. He was decent enough. His relationships with his fellow orphans as they progress is pretty much stock for teenage or young adult books like this, but still decent. It didn't bog down too much. Walt, the ranger who takes Will on as an apprentice, I enjoyed him. He's a very gruff, no nonsense kind of person. Again, no surprises, the gruff, strict mentor type. Even so, I still enjoyed his relationship with Will. I enjoyed his interactions with other people in the books, same as with Will's. It's just a decently written young adult book. As far as I'll give it a B+. It's not gonna shake the stars, rock the foundations or anything, but it's an entertaining read for what it is. And I regret not reading this with my kids. I really think I should have. I did read with them, so it's not like I neglected that entirely, but I think I would have enjoyed reading this with my kids. Our process was that we would sit side by side on the couch and open the book, and I would read the pages I would read the page on the left, and then I hand the book over to my daughter, read the page on the right. So we would pass the book back and forth and read alternate pages, and that's how we read the books. We read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. We read Harry Potter books, Pendragon, Series of Unfortunate Events. With my younger daughter, I read the Percy Jackson novels and some of the other books that Rick Riordan wrote. But this is good enough that I regret not reading it with my kids. Don't know if anyone out there is going to be interested in this. But if you have, it's decent enough as a read for me as an adult. It passed an afternoon. I'm not going to recommend you go out and buy it. It's not, like I said, B+ means it's good to read, it's not a must-have. But if you're of an age like myself and you have, well, my kids are grown, but if you have kids who like to read, who like adventure stories, yeah, I would recommend getting this and sitting down and reading it with them. It's not complicated, it's not heavy, it's an easy read, but it's a fun read. So take that as it will. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, why? And until next time, good hunting.